Hello, this is Diane with Diane's Blue Hearts and Butterflies.com, and I fell in love with one of the stamp sets in the celebration for August September 2021, and it's the Delicate Dahlias stamp set. It's a distinctive stamp, which means it's has kind of a 3D images in here for stamping. And it's set up for two-step, but you can use it without it. And I also wanted to share a stamping technique called faux silk, which kind of makes it look like that silk or what do you call it, wallpaper or something like that, and it kind of gives it a unique look. And so these were some of the colors that I chose, the color palettes. This one is using the pale papaya, and then I also added some darker coral to it. And this one is the bumblebee with the mango melody, and this one is the petal pink with some flirty flamingo. And I want to show how I did this. So let me get out my items. So I did use this Delicate Dahlias on these. I also, with these, just to go over it real quick, used the Biggest Wish for some of the larger words. And then I also used another thing that can be obtained through the celebration for August September 2021, and that is if you host a party for at least $300 or more, or you have an order that you're going to place that's $300 or more, you get this for free. And it's a beautiful word set of stamps, and that's where the happy birthday came from and some of the other words. I did use well, the one I'm going to do today, I'm actually going to use the Sending Heartfelt Sympathy, but I wanted a sympathy inside, and there is a retired set that I do have that Stampin' Up! Did have previously, and it was called Kindness and Compassion, and so I was going to use that for the inside. I also have Happy Thoughts that I'm using for my class for that. So let me go over the pieces that I used for this. So the base is 8.5 by 5.5, and then it's scored at 4 1/4 so that it can fold in half. And you just use your bone folder to burnish the edge. I also used a 5 1/4 by 4-inch piece for the inside, and then a 5 1/4 by 4-inch piece of the darker shade, which this one's Gorgeous Grape. And then I cut a piece of tissue paper, and this is what creates that silk look. And this, I went ahead and cut it at about 6 inches by 5 inches. It just needs to be larger than the piece that we're going to put it on. This one is a 5-inch by 3 3/4 inch, and I've already put the double-sided adhesive on the front side of this, so that I can, once I've stamped on this piece, I can adhere it to this. I also have it depends on the size of your greeting that you're going to use, but you'll want to use your either layering circles, or if you have punches, to do these to fit your greeting. And then I also have about 14 inches of ribbon, and so this one is going to be in the Highland Heather and the Gorgeous Grape with the Granny Apple Green, and then I had some Gorgeous Grape ribbon. And just to save some time, I did go ahead and stamp the inside of the cards. The ones that I had made previously, I had done the outline, because this is a two-step stamp, so it has the where did it go? It has the background image, which is the 3D, and then it has the outline image for this. And I had done mine in black on that, But I saw another demonstrator and she shared how it would look if you just used the darker color. And I kind of really liked that, but it is your choice. You can do either one. So I've already stamped that for the inside. And then on the sentiment, what I did was using the little flower stamp, which is just the 3D one. I did that in the Highland Heather, but I stamped off before I stamped here so it would be lighter in the background. And then I just did the sentiment in Tuxedo Memento Black. And then I'll layer these two on. And then I wanted to share the stamping on the tissue paper. And that, I've already done some of them, but I did want to do a couple of more over here. And so I started by inking it's the 3D stamp with the lighter color. And then I brought in a dauber for the darker color. Now you need to make sure that your ink pad isn't too inky. I don't know what else to call it. Isn't too juicy. And if it is a little bit, because I would recommend that you stamp this off and test it. But you can take a plastic spoon or an old gift card or something like that and move the ink off to the side. And then you can move it back. And you just want to make sure that you get that lighter color on there everywhere. And then I just took the darker color and kind of put it around the middle and a couple of places out around the edge. And then I just brought that over and stamped it onto the tissue paper. And it creates that lovely kind of 3D image. It does soak in a bit on the tissue paper, so it does kind of bleed in a little bit and everything eventually, but it's still going to work for what we want it to do. But it makes a really pretty stamp on especially regular cardstock. And so I did do that. So let me set that off to the side and go ahead and close these. And then for the leaf, I used the 3D version of that one as well. And what I had done was I created a mask of the flower. Now, another thing that I did want to share on my flowers is let me clean this one real quick so that I can handle it without getting ink everywhere. I did want to share something that it works for me. Maybe it'll work for you, maybe you don't need it. But I found where the image kind of lines up with the outline. And for me, I don't know how to describe it. Maybe I can show it on here. But there's these two pieces right here. Kind of looks like a claw to me. I'm not sure if you can see that. But on my stamps, I found that where it is. And on the back side that sticks to the block, I put a little black marker. And I did that on both of these so that I could actually line those up better when I'm trying to stamp those. So I did that, and then I also did that found the place where it is on my mask that I created, so that when I want to stamp the leaves, I can find out where that lines up. So here's my little claw. I don't know if you can see that right there, but this lines up right there, and it just covers right where I need it to. And then I have my Granny Apple Green with this leaf stamp, and then I can just come in and put in a leaf, and then I do that on each one of these. So this one, I think my claw was over somewhere else, so let me find another Another place that this lines up, I think it's right here. That's pretty good. And so you just put that there, and then you can stamp your leaf, and then you pull your mask up, and it looks like it's back behind there. So that is that portion. Let me go ahead and move these off. And my mask. Now, how you do the silk technique is, after this is kind of dried, which this one is pretty much, you're just going to take and you're going to crinkle it up. And then you're going to kind of fold it back out a little bit, and then you're going to crinkle it again in a different direction. And you just get it to so that there's kind of some crinkles and folds and everything in here. And then when you pull it back out, you don't want to pull and flatten it all out, but you will bring in your 5 by 3 3/4 piece, and you're going to want to pull off the backing on that double-sided adhesive piece, and then you're just going to kind of lay this over, and then you can kind of moosh it out, I don't know, kind of lay everything kind of flat and get it all stuck down, and you'll see you have these neat little folds and creases and stuff, and you can flatten it out as much as you like or whatever. And then the reason I made that so big is so that it kind of has room to scrunch and be a different size. And then you just turn it over to the back side and you cut around your cardstock piece. And do that real quick. I've been wanting to do this technique for a long time. I've watched several demonstrators and other people on the internet share this from years ago, and I just really loved it. So that is that part, and then we can just go to assembling everything, putting everything together. So I will start by adhering the darker layer, which this one is the Gorgeous Grape. To the front. Want to make sure that you're opening the right direction. Ask me how I know, is because I've done it before where it's backwards. And then you will adhere this layer onto that. And it can go in any direction you want. I think I'm going to put it this way, leaving a little border around. Now on this one, what I had done on several of my cards was just kind of folding this back and forth across here to kind of go behind. But you can tie a bow, or before you adhere that layer, you could always wrap and do a ribbon around that, like I did on this card. So actually what I did was I layered the silk layer onto the coral, and then I wrapped the ribbon around to the back side of that and glued it down, and then I tied a knot over this part. But you can do however you want to do this. And I found that for just doing the rolling, I just put a couple of streams of that adhesive down and just kind of stick it. like that. And it doesn't really matter because you're going to put your sentiment over the middle part of this anyway. So get that rolling. And then I used dimensionals to pop this sentiment up. Used up my last little bit of edges on that one. And we pop that on here where we want it. And then you can just snip the tails as you like. I think I'm going to go that direction. And then we'll glue our sentiment layer onto the inside as well. And that's basically kind of a basic, quick looking, or a quick technique looking card that you can put together and give to somebody and make their day. Or like this one, I needed a sympathy card, so I thought that I would turn that into one. I appreciate you checking out the video for my ideas, and you can always visit my website at dianesblueheartsandbutterflies.com. I will have the measurements over there on my blog, and it'll have a link to this video as well so that you can see how to put it together. And you can also shop with me to buy the supplies if there's any that you like. The September 30th is the end of the celebration, so if you'd like to have the Delicate Dahlias stamp set, you would need to place your order before the end of September. And there's also a promotion going on for joining. If you would like to get some benefits of being a demonstrator to take advantage of some discounts, then you could also sign up during this time and you get an extra bundle out of a selected ones from the holiday catalog, which is running between July and December. If you want more information, you can check it out online. And thank you for sharing my love of stamping.